I want to welcome to the PorterWay Podcast for the first time, certainly not the last, George Jacovic. I know you from ProBox TV. A lot of people here right now may know you from ProBox TV, but you did some things before ProBox. You did some big things before ProBox.
Yeah, well, first of all, this is a big thing now because I'm on the PorterWay Podcast. So this is a big thing in the here and now, Shawn.
But when you like before we started the show, you said, "Man, this is big for me." I was like, George, you come from HBO Boxing After Dark. You know, it don't get no bigger than.
All right. Well, we can get that out of the way. I was with HBO for a long time, about 15 years, and I was a producer. I got to produce some 24/7s. I helped create a show called Legendary Nights. You know, Shawn, I got to travel the world and tell fighters stories. And now I'm at ProBox. Now I get to work with champions like you.
Did you do anything in between when HBO stopped and then getting with ProBox TV?
I did. I was a freelance producer. I worked on a lot of stuff. I actually worked on a lot of stuff with Fox. You remember the show that they did when you fought Errol Spence? I think it was called Fight Camp. Yeah. But I was a producer on that show. Okay. Although unfortunately, I worked on the Errol Spence side. I wasn't on the Shawn Porter side.
I was gonna say I never saw you.
No. I was not in camp, but I know the producer that was in camp with you, Lainey, I think her name was. But yeah. So I've been still in boxing, still able to tell stories, and now with ProBox TV, like I said, I get to work with you, Paulie Malignaggi, Chris Algieri, Tim Bradley, Teddy Atlas.
Yeah. Quick pivot, and then we'll get back to why we got you here, then we'll get you off. But you were with Errol majority of his camp or along the way in his camp and things like that. What were your thoughts going into the fight between me and Errol? Were you looking at Errol like, this kid is going to stump Mr. Porter? Like, what were you thinking?
No, I didn't think that. It's funny because I saw a lot of the footage. And the footage, really, the most compelling stuff was the footage with you and your dad in the gym, because there was that whole segment where you and your dad, I mean, your dad was just going in on you. Mm-hmm. And that was really the most compelling stuff of the whole show. I honestly, going into it, I thought that Errol was probably going to be favored, but I knew it was going to be a great fight. And that's what it was.
Yeah. The reason why I asked that is because a lot of times when you close to a fighter, you're in the camp, you get to see some things that not other people get to see. You get to see something, you're like, that guy's ready, you know? So I know it was like that on both ends.
Well, I was in New York. There was a field, there's called a field producer and the producer in the edit. So I wasn't in the field, but I have been in the field before. And yeah, man, when you're with the fighter for a couple of weeks, you're rooting for, you think that fighter is going to win, no doubt, and you're rooting for that fighter.
George, while we got you here, you text me, you sent me a link that was showing me the big news that ProBox TV had just signed Boxing Scene. And can you talk to us a little bit about what's in store in the future for ProBox TV?
Yeah, well, I talked to Gary Jonas, who's the CEO, who, you know, Gary, you've talked to him. He bought Boxing Scene, and look, Boxing Scene really has been the top website for a long time. You guys remember back in the day when there was Fight News, fightnews.com?
Yeah.
Because I can remember when Fight News was the top site. Boxing Scene has been the top site. I mean, it's the site I still go to when you just want to see the headlines. So ProBox has acquired it, and talking to Gary, he said that really it's not going to change much. It's just going to be enhanced, especially on the video side, like shows that we do at ProBox, Shawn, like shows that you do.
Yeah,
I think there'll be more content like that. I think they want to keep most of, if not all of the writers that they have in place. ProBox also has writers, so really he's doing it to elevate Boxing Scene, and also this is a good thing for ProBox because Boxing Scene is a super popular boxing website.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, can you kind of talk about why that? When I saw it, I said, "Wow, ProBox TV." I feel like they're trying to do something and make a big move. Can you kind of talk about why this move is so big for ProBox TV?
Well, it's big because ProBox really is small. No, ProBox is small and growing. Boxing scene is something that's been established for over 2 decades. Boxing fans know boxing scene. So now that ProBox has acquired it, and obviously it was done, so it's a positive for ProBox. But again, this boxing scene has been around for I think 2 decades.
Yeah. So
the fact that ProBox acquired it and they're not going to do major changes, they're just going to enhance it. Look, I'm not trying to do a commercial for ProBox, but
no, go ahead.
Look at what they've done. You're on there. Tim Bradley, Teddy Atlas, Chris Algieri, Paulie Malignaggi, champions and Hall of Famers. So it's like anything. There's a lot of great boxing content out there. There really is. If you go on YouTube, a lot of great channels, a lot of fans who know the sport, but there's nothing like hearing from the people who do it.
Yeah.
And Gary's gone out and got, like I said, champions and Hall of Famers who can give a different perspective. So having Boxing Scene as a website, it's only a positive. And he said, if it's broke, don't fix it. It's something that can be enhanced. Like we said, what we do on ProBox with the shows that we do. Mm-hmm. I think the plan is to do that on Boxing Scene. And it's just going to make it better. I think it's a positive for boxing fans.
I just real quick, I want to go through a little quick scenario with you, then we'll get you off of here. I look at everybody at ProBox TV. You didn't even include who they got on the Espanol side. I mean, they got you know better than I do. I know Juan Marquez is over there, and you go ahead and kind of tell everybody who's over there on the Latino
side. You got Juan Manuel Marquez, Marco Antonio Barrera, Jorge Arce. I mean, right there.
Yeah.
Marquez and Barrera, right there.
Yeah.
The Hall of Famers. So it's not Gary Jones, he's serious about what he's doing. Like, look, I mean, and you're on there too. So this is a serious thing.
And that's my point.
He doesn't have just, he's got big names and guys who have been champions.
You doing
Hall of Famers.
Wednesday night fights? Is Wednesday night fights once a month?
Wednesday night fights is every other Wednesday. We just had one on Friday because it's funny because Valentine's Day was on a Wednesday.
Yeah.
And the Florida Commission didn't want to work on Valentine's Day. Yeah. So they switched it to Friday, which I don't like it. Like you said, Shawn, it was ProBox and ESPN and DAZN at a card.
Yeah.
There's really no need to have boxing on in one day, and it's something boxing does wrong, but ProBox, usually it's on a Wednesday because there's no boxing on Wednesday except ProBox, so it's every other Wednesday.
So I'm going to say this, and then I want you to, just kind of cap it off, and then we'll let you go. But I look at Wednesday night fights every other Wednesday. They just did a Friday night fight because they couldn't get the commission to come in. It's what it is. We did Friday night fights. We knew we were competing against ESPN, DAZN. We knew months ago what it was going to be, and we still decided to do it. They got an Espanol side, they got the American, they got the English side, myself, Teddy Atlas. I mean, you guys already know everybody who's involved. Paulie Malignaggi, Chris Algieri, list goes on. Tim Bradley, I want to exclude him or anything like that. You've been a part of boxing 15 years with HBO. They just acquired Boxing Scene. I think that ProBox TV, they're not here to quote unquote compete, but they're putting themselves in a big position. And I just kind of wanted somebody else to narrate that storyline that I just kind of led you in right there. Do you think that ProBox TV is going to try to do something like upwards to amazing, like relatively soon?
Well, I know that Gary Jones, like the play is long term. This isn't a quick strike thing. He wants this to work, and he's very serious about this. So I think this is just a step. I didn't know this was happening. I heard a couple of weeks ago there were rumors, and then suddenly it happened. I did hear for a while that Boxing Scene was up for sale, but the fact, again, I keep going back to who you see when we do these shows. It's you guys. It's fighters and Teddy Atlas, who's one of the best trainers in the game, in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
It's very serious. And like you said, on the Spanish side, the Hall of Famers they have, it's a long-term play. So this is not to make just a big splash, trying to make money really quick.
Yeah.
It's about the love of the sport that Gary has, and that everyone who works at ProBox has. So it's exciting. I mean, it's a big thing, and I think the only thing that would be bigger for me one day if I could get in that studio. I see there's room on that couch. There's room on that couch. I see it.
There's a little bit of room on the couch. But listen, before we go ahead.
I got one for you. Man, how was you, Gary, how did you guys put together this cast, the big names, the Hall of Famers, the Shawn Porters, the Timothy Bradley? People will pray to just to have one of those guys. You got a long list.
You're right. I'm not involved on the business side.
Okay.
I do know that he, me and other people were always giving him names.
Okay.
But he went out and made it happen.
That's crazy.
That's why it's like just the people we read off. It's a serious list, and they all have, everyone has other jobs too. Yeah. So it blows my mind that this has come together as fast as it has. And man, the guy, it's a serious thing. Again, you don't get guys like Shawn and Tim and Teddy and Chris and Paulie. You have to be serious about what you're doing, and ProBox is something serious, and I think it's something that's needed. It's the only entity out there it's the boxing channel. It's nothing else. We don't do tennis during the day and boxing at night. It's boxing all the time, only boxing. So look, me personally, I love it. To get to talk to Shawn, to you guys, and talk boxing and hear your perspectives.
Yeah.
I don't think there's anything out there that's like it, and all the different points of view that you guys have. And you guys don't always agree, but you're not supposed to, because it would be boring if everyone agreed on everything. You guys don't agree with everything when you do your shows. So it's a big thing, and it's serious. And look, I personally love it. Anyone who loves boxing is going to love ProBox. So this is, I see nothing but big things, because, you look at the roster, you look at it like a roster. It's an all-star roster of people talking boxing. So,
yeah. George, last thing before we let you go, you got a lot of content out there, and I love when you send me stuff, videos, and things like that you got going on. Can you tell everybody where to follow you, where to see the content that you do that is separate from ProBox TV and the things you've done in the past?
Yeah, I'm on YouTube. It's One Round with George. Pretty simple. Yeah, Shawn, I've loved the sport for a long time. So I've been involved with it for a long time, and that's creating that kind of content. I love to do it. So that's where you can see the stuff I sent. I'm glad you liked that last video that I sent.
I was gonna say, yeah, you didn't get one follower off of that. So do it again with more enthusiasm.
Go to One Round with George on YouTube. You got some great boxing content on there. Yours truly talking boxing, man. You have to. If Shawn Porter and the PorterWay Podcast is endorsing me, you have to go to One Round with George on YouTube. Go check it out and subscribe.
Run around with George, man. I appreciate you, George, for coming on today, man. Thanks for making time.
I appreciate you guys. And again, there's room on that couch. I see it.
Yeah.
Hey, we already got a deal for you coming out here anyway. So when you come out here, then we'll add that to the plate.
Okay. Sounds like a plan.
Good deal, man. Talk soon.